How can we build communities around the impact we want to make in the world? How do we get people engaged and excited to support our missions when everyone is so busy already? How do we get others to care? This season will bring you people that decide to look closer. They look where others have turned away. They are building communities to make a positive impact. I am Regina Larco, and this is #Impact, a podcast about stuff that matters. Today I'm sitting down with Supriya Panchangam, author, entrepreneur, educator, young people champion, and CEO at the Future Founders Co. That is helping young people make pro-planet choices. Supriya loves being in learning rooms with young people. She is obsessed with it. She keeps thinking about what is important and what is necessary and relevant for young people to learn. She channels her experiences to help curate experiential learning tools that encourage creativity and curiosity to get young people started on their own path of sustainability. And if you have listened to one of our former episodes where we invited our community of listeners to share someone who inspires them in the way they build community, you will have heard one of Supriya's community members share why she inspires her so much. And I'm pretty sure it will take a maximum of maybe 30 seconds to a minute for you to understand why Supriya is so incredible. And I can already promise you that you will take so much from our conversation today for your own change maker journey. Supriya, welcome to #Impact Podcast.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I am so excited to be here. Thank you for the wonderful introduction. I know this conversation has been pending for a long time. I'm just really happy that this is finally happening. So thank you for having me on your amazing, amazing podcast. It feels like I've arrived in life because I'm here on your podcast today.
It's like on the bucket list, right? Being featured on #Impact. No, Supriya, really, I just have to let all our listeners know as well, like from the first moment that we sat in a Zoom room together. And I tried to now go back to when that was exactly. Maybe it was around a year ago or so. Maybe not even that long ago, because you approached me about one of the projects that you are running with the Future Founders Co. And it was just something that lit me up so much because it was a podcasting project that you were running for Future Founders Co. And do you want to tell our listeners a little bit about that particular project and how we found each other?
Yes, I have to talk about it. Like you said in the introduction, I love being in learning rooms with young people. And Future Founders Co. honestly is just really my excuse to be in learning rooms with young people, right? Like figuring out what are different forms, because I think young people today are multimodal learners. Like they can learn of so many different ways and means and different formats of content. While fundamentally learning by doing is what helps any individual learn quickly in a more engaging way, etc. But at Future Founders Co, we're constantly discovering learning by doing what, right? What is it that we want young people to be doing as a way to learn things that are important in the world? And last year, it has been actually a little over a year that we've met, because last year we ran the Future Talks program, the first edition of the Future Talks program, which is a 3 months podcasting program that we hosted for young people from across the world. And we had a cohort of young people from, I think Ghana, Argentina, and of course India, and a couple of other places. And I reached out to you because I think you're doing such a boss job of helping people voice themselves, right? And I think one of the things that you said in the keynote of the program that stayed with me, and I'm pretty sure if you go back and ask Akshita, who you were referring to, who was on your episode, or even Anirudh or some of the others who attended the program in the keynote, will tell you that when you're podcasting, listeners are a bonus, and I think that stayed with us. And it's such a definitive way to understand what podcasting can be, which for us was a learning experience, right? So we wanted for podcasting to be a learning experience, and we created this program to get young people, so it could become a way for them. They could use it as an excuse or an opportunity to talk to people about things that they care about in the world, who otherwise would not engage with them directly, right? So how do we get young people, sort of have access to whether it's people in academics or in media or in, who are working in tech or who are working on any of the subjects that they care about, and how do you get them access to these insights and these conversations without making it a lecture or a masterclass or one of those? How can we make this one-on-one conversation available? And I think that was the intention for us to set up the podcasting program. Very, very happy to say that one of them has continued podcasting, publishing episodes consistently. I think last week was his 15th episode that came out, and he's been speaking to just who's who in the world about climate change. And shout out to Anirudh Nanda and his podcast, which is Climate Change Your Concern? And he's hosted so many relevant guests and so many amazing people. And it's been an incredibly valuable journey for him and therefore for us. That's just really what we do at Future Founders Co. We just really want to find these exciting, different, as Gen Z ways as possible for young people to learn about climate change, to learn about sustainability, and just how all of these are going to be so important and so relevant for them. And I want to thank you for kickstarting that for us and setting an incredible tone for that program, Eugenia.
That was so fun. Like, I'm so grateful that I could be part of it, and I'll never forget that moment as well in that room, and all the excitement and hearing also all the questions that the students were raising, and I learned so much from that as well. So thank you for that opportunity, because that keeps me also continuously learning on how to leverage this format to create awareness on the topics that we care about, and to put ourselves on the stage. I think that's something that's so exciting to see how you do that as well, not just with this particular program, but in general with everything you do at Future Founders Co. The Startathon, can we celebrate that? I mean, amazing, right? I've seen my LinkedIn feed was going, it was just on fire to see all the impact that program made. So that's one of your flagship projects as well, that I can imagine keeps you up at night a lot. You looked so busy. Like, how was that experience going through that this year?
Yeah. The India sustainability, one of the things that I'm most proud about and what we've been able to achieve at FFC and the team at FFC is just how we've been able to take a familiar format of a competition like a startathon, hackathon. I mean, the format in itself is not very different and very easily understood by all stakeholders. But what I'm really proud of is just how we've taken that familiar format of a competition and really turned it into a collaborative learning program for students that are a part of that program, right? This year, ISS 2024 has also been a lot more special because this year we said, when we were sort of vision setting for what this year's program could be, we looked at of course, the winners, and we run this program in association with our partners in Singapore, the OSG Youth Alliance, which is again another amazing organization that's really focused on helping young people across Asia become leaders, and drive change in their community and become change makers in their context. And of course, the winners of the India Sustainability Startathon get scholarship to go to Singapore and be part of a larger, more an event there. But we looked at the program and said that cannot be the only pathway for young people who are putting in time and effort into the program, right? So we came up with this. What sort of started out as initial thoughts and like a campaign line, we said everyone is a winner at ISS 2024. And once we put that down, we were like, okay, how are we going to create pathways for everybody to be a winner in the program? And that is how we sort of looked at, creating how can we create conversations within the teams that are in the same program. So they would come into these masterclasses, which were of course curated, and I'm so grateful for so many amazing, incredibly inspiring speakers who came in to ISS today this year. From like for someone like Suman Lal, who heads the Cambridge Innovation Center at the MIT, to Priyal Kenny, who is, so just so many speakers came and shared their journeys, and so many of those conversations were super, super authentic. But at the end of each masterclass, we would get these teams which were from different rooms, like from different colleges, etc., and put them in different breakout rooms. So they got to talk to each other, and they made like so many friendships, and organic collaborative energies were created because of what we were able to do, right? So we've seen that in the past year, it's allowed for teams to sort of cross-form into different teams, go into different programs, apply for different competitions, and sort of really mobilize the resources that they need in order to do whatever that they were doing in their context, right? We brought together 3 more partnerships in addition to our Singapore partnership, 2 incubators and a climate change and a climate learning program, so that every individual that's been a part of the program wins to be in the next phase in some way or the other, right? So their journey never ends as soon as the competition is over, and we see that, which is possibly why we have, I think the craziest amount of engagement from young people, and we constantly keep finding ways and means to make a platform available for them, just like you do with all your all your speakers and all your guests, right? So just really how we can continue to understand them, and whether it's in education or employment or entrepreneurship, which are broadly 3 areas of productivity that young people are engaged in. How do we get them to intentionally associate themselves with work around work or innovation or learning around climate change and sustainability, right? And that's it's been hectic, but it's been hectic in a good way, and it feels very, very rewarding. And I think, to just like sum up what we meant when we said everyone's a winner at ISS 2024, I think we were the biggest winners of the ISS, because we've got the opportunity to engage with a lot more young people this year. We've got an opportunity to create pathways for so many more young people this year. So I really think that, we came out as bigger winners in the program, than the young people. So it's been an absolute, I think, privilege and an honor that we got to run, and we've been also able to attract the right kind of partners and people to create these opportunities for young people.
Yeah, just seeing your eyes light up when you share about this, and I can And I definitely saw it happen when I followed the posts that you were sharing across the socials, not just you, but yeah, the community of people that were part of it. It just, right, when we're building something from scratch, it's just that what you're looking for as well, for people to resonate with what you offer and for them to take what they learn from your programs and run with it. And the long-term impact of it, the collaborations that were made, the conversations that were started, it's something that is, yeah, I can relate to that, how fulfilling that is as well. And a couple of years ago, you shared something on a video I found. You shared something, and I always love to go back to some of the things that our guests shared, years and years ago, because I want to understand like where you're coming from and where your passion is coming from. And one of these questions that you raised in that conversation that I saw, really kind of like stopped me for a moment, and I wanted to learn more about that from you, how you see that today, because there you say, what if we help young people grow holistically? What comes up for you here today after the experiences that you did make over the last couple of years building Future Founders Co. from scratch?
I'm just so glad you picked that video of just all the content that I've think published or been a part of, and I think it is for one of the organizations called Dream, and they have influenced the way that I think about young people in an incredible way, and they've been around at least 2 decades or more, and the founders are incredibly inspiring. And one would think that access, in terms of understanding, life is far more easier for young people than it is today. That it is today than it was for us before. But I think they carry an incredible burden that us as millennials got away with. I think inequities in the world, the hypocrisy of the leaders, lack of moral leadership, and a dying planet, and the pressure of being online and what that social pressure means. And I think they carry it. It's an extremely heavy baggage, and it's a huge burden for them to carry. And I think that what I mean when I said, how could we help young people grow more holistically, learn more holistically, is because I think that education, as it continues to be technical, fails them to cope with what is happening in the world. And we see that we see that there isn't enough example in the world today of kindness being celebrated, of kindness being appreciated, of kindness being, let's say, demonstrated by leaders of the world, even as we see so much conflict and war in the world, right? And in such a case, how do we help young people to be kind to each other? We talk about education and relevant education, but by the time they graduate with their college degree, what they've studied in college is not relevant for them anymore at their jobs, right? So how do we then help them become more capable as a learner, more than just transfer of knowledge to them, right? So how can we help them become learners, and what kind of moral anchors are going to be relevant for them to make decisions, whether it is on consumption or whether it is on their sense of success or their place in the world. What kind of, the sort of leadership do we demonstrate to them? And 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 because so much of it is not available on the outside, what do we do? What can we do as educators to get them to develop these perspectives or get them to exercise these in actions? And how do we demonstrate these ourselves as adults in their room, right? And how do we also sort of make them capable of standing through to some of these actions or beliefs or value systems that we're able to build for them in our safe spaces? How can we create capabilities in them so they're able to hold on to them even when they're outside of the context or outside of the safe space or outside of the classroom, right?
One of the greatest lessons I learned from my father is that the baggage of generosity is a very light one to carry. I read you say that.
I'm my daddy's girl forever. But I can share a little bit about a little experience of mine that happened early this year, because we had an opportunity to travel with my dad to the place that he grew up. So we went and saw the school that he went to, for kindergarten, for high school, for his primary school, and where he had his friends, where he lived. And we happened to pass by the neighborhood that he was in. And we took this chance and went to the neighbor, the house that was right next to his house when he was growing up as a teenager. And
where is that?
This is in a place called Dharwad, which is north of Karnataka, which is a state in India. It's, I think, about 10 hours from Bangalore. And we went there and we took a chance, and we walked into the neighbor's house, and my dad asked. So my dad's about 70 years old, and he looked at another 70-year-old man in that house and asked that, "Are you this person? Right? Are you my friend that I used to play cricket with?" And both of them obviously have not met each other for, I don't know, maybe 50 plus years, if not more, at least 55 years, if not more, because my dad moved from that place when he was 15 or 16, I think. And and he said, "Yes, of course. I remember, and you're this person." And I saw this interaction of two old men in interacting with each other like they were teenagers, as if no time had passed between them. And they were reminiscing all of these things. And most of what he said, most of what this man said, was just about how he always ate at my dad's house, or how my grandmother, my dad's mom, saved up a few things, or fruits or sweets or something like that for him when he came home, or how my dad ate at his place a lot of times. And it was just that, and I realized that I'm just going to take a moment here, because everything was just so overwhelming. But I think one of the things that I walked away from that day was just a lot about his life wasn't about what he had done at work, or the kind of positions that he was in with his work, with the Indian government. A lot of his life that he found valuable that day was just how they were able to give to each other, right? And I think that, and I think the lesson there for me, of course, was just how, that it doesn't take a lot to give. I think that's just that was a lesson that I came away from, and I think that in fact is, now on our train ride back, I just kept thinking about all of these situations that I've seen my dad demonstrate this behavior with us and the family, with people around, his friends, his colleagues, and I think one of the biggest traits that I would definitely tie to him was just his generosity, in, including just forgiving people, like this being generous in terms of giving chances to people, and I think, and I think that's, and I think I just seeing him do it so easily makes me believe that the baggage of generosity is a very light one to carry. Yeah. So thank you for asking me.
Thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing this. Yeah, it really touched me when I saw that picture as well of you and him and you sharing that, because that's also, I think that's something we often in our work contexts don't speak so much about, the people in our lives that have and still are influencing us greatly, and how these people shape our worldviews. If we're lucky in the best ways possible, I know not everyone is that lucky, and I think we are the lucky ones having people in our family that are showing us that kindness, that's showing us and being role models in that way, of not because of what they do or what professions they have or what they have achieved, but just by how they treat other people and how they are around other people. It's, I feel I see a pattern with that, like with all the people I have on the show. Because I always try to get to the, to find certain commonalities as well, of even though all these amazing change makers like yourself are working in so many different areas, but there are certain traits that they hold that I feel, and one of them is definitely that generosity and that kindness and that openness, the curiosity as well that you bring to the table, that are traits that these brilliant change makers and innovators just have. And I'm curious as well, just to understand, how can we then as well nurture this in young people, for example, right? In young people. And I read this study, I didn't read this study. I heard other people quote this study, that if there's just one person in your life, even if you come from a broken home, let's say, but if there's one person, it doesn't have to be a family member, it could be a neighbor, it could be a friend, but someone who believes in you and who shows you that kindness, that this is what will make you lead a rich life, in a sense that you are not monetary, but just by being, what's the word I'm looking for? Leading a life with purpose and with intention. Yeah. So it really moved me hearing you share all this.
No, it was incredibly overwhelming for me. Like I don't think I've cried so much in my life in one day as much as I did that day. Not just, not because I was sad or anything, but it was just so overwhelming, and I was just so happy and so proud of my dad. And I think I've also been incredibly blessed with not just like my own parents, but also my in-laws, who are just so incredibly giving. My mother-in-law is I haven't met another human being who is just so giving as she is, and yet is able to sort of draw boundaries around it without a burnout, right? I have seen her do this with everybody that comes in her life, and I think that we have a beautiful life because we have her in our lives. And I know that And I know for a fact that many, many people, not just in our own family, but others who've had the privilege of having her in their lives would sort of attest to it as well. So she's, so you're right, that just having people around you that believe in you will help you, uh, you know, do a lot more than you think you can. And it sort of goes back to the first question that you asked about the interview that you quoted, which again is of the from the organization Dream a Dream, that essentially talks about just the role of a safe adult in a child's life. And for me, that is, no matter who that is, it still is have someone that believes in it, that is able to sort of create this non-judgmental space for you to be able to, like you said, be curious, go find out, and sort of give you that confidence, knowing that that you're seen and you're heard and you're understood, and what you do is just a way of you trying to discover what the world needs to you.
And how does that inform your understanding of success?
I think for me, success is just has always sort of been evolving. And I think that's one of the things that I've come to understand, that both my potential as a person and my understanding of success is or what success is for me is something that will constantly keep evolving as I evolve and discover a lot more about who I am and what I want to do and what is important for me. At that given time, in that given context, and that success or human potential, or my potential as a person is not an absolute. Because throughout my life, I've had people that I've interacted with saying, "Oh my God, you have so much potential," and "Oh my God, you have so much potential," and early on in my career, much younger, when I was much younger, maybe early 20s, because people said, "Oh, you have so much potential, and I think you can do awesome things in your life," and you're like just running because you think that it's a goal and you think that it's some place to get to, right? Like to achieve your potential and to be able to have all of what you can do in like this one bucket of things in life. And I think that, but as I've gotten older, and as I've gotten older, I'm beginning to believe that that with the greatest, I think for me today, is what I think success is just being able to sort of unravel or discover my potential in contexts that give me joy. And in the last few years, I've scaled back a lot of work that I do, and that's given me a lot of time with my family. Like being able to take trips with my dad with really no agenda, or like catching up for a coffee and not having a conversation, or just meeting with parents without the agenda being social or, God forbid, medical, right? So you're not just meeting them because it's a social event or a festival or because you have to take them to the doctor, but really just being able to go enjoy a movie together or a meal together. I think that I see a lot of my peers struggle with being able to provide that kind of time with family. And I think because I've scaled down on a lot of work that I do, I've been able to give that kind of time with my family. And that really has helped me feel more love, feel more seen, feel more validated. And it's given me, like I said, like just so many stories with my mom and dad and my in-laws. And I think it's just, both, or my nephew and, or like my 2-year-old niece. I think it's given, it's just being able to discover a lot more about who you are in, like I said, in so many different contexts that bring you joy, right? there's this, and the work that we do at FFC, which just gives me so much access to young people and being able to learn with them and make memes with them and have all of these conversations and these controversial conversations about why is this important and why is this not important, and and I think yeah, and I think it allows for you. It allows me definitely, and I'm sure a bunch of other people as well. It allows a lot of people to be really be more, be more authentic in our everyday lives and realize that there's so much power to all things that we do in our lives every day. There's so much power in what we do every day, and I think just being more present and more aware in all of these things that we are doing every day, I think is what success is to me today. Also, just I think also just being able to not start your day with income generating work, right? Like being able to start your day with doing something that really elevates your spirits every day, right? Like energizes you. Like I wake up and paint most of the days in the morning. Or I can go for a quiet breakfast, go meet a friend first thing in the morning before getting to work. So I really get to work mostly after lunch. So deprioritizing income generation is also what I think is what success feels like to me today.
Hmm. And it's, I think, an invitation to everyone listening right now as well to think about their definition of success and how they would want to build a life that is successful in their own terms and not by anyone else's standards, but their own, because what looks like success to you or to me might not to you that is listening right now. So I think that's a beautiful showcase, actually, your story. And I know we touched only upon a few of the, micro moments, of Supriya, and there's so much more to discover. I invite everyone just to also connect with you directly. All the details will be in the show notes as well, so that you can keep being inspired by Supriya as well, and reach out and see if there are ways how you could maybe also become involved in one of the amazing programs that she's running. Collaborations and opportunities are everywhere. So I love when our podcast brings these kind of connections as well. But Supriya, you know that I won't let you go until you go through the quick fire round with me, right?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I have put guests in conversations through this, but yeah, I often imagined myself to be always the one asking questions. So it's a little bit making me a little bit anxious, but
oh my goodness, it sounds like so. I'm gonna put you through that quick fire round now. You can do it, Supriya. I believe in you. Making an impact means
being kind.
Who inspires you in the way they build community?
So many people, but I would refer back to Vishal, who's the founder of the organization Dream.
And what could everyone do right now to make the world an even better place?
Be kind to yourself first. I think if we're able to be kind to ourselves first, we will then be able to extend that to another person. And I think that would make the world a better place.
I agree. Is there anything else that you would like the visitors, the listeners to now to now know? This is your call to action moment. Is there something they should do to connect with you or that they should know about?
I think for all the young people that are listening to this episode, I would say that, sustainability or climate change will often be presented to you as a trend or as a theme or something that is extra outside of your mainstream academics. I would highly encourage you to look at it a lot more seriously, whether you want it or not, whether you like it or not. Climate change is going to be something that you will have to work towards, adapt, innovate, be part of things that are actually going to, make or break the world. So it is a lot more important than it is being presented to you, and that in the way or the seriousness that it is being presented to you. So go on, please find ways and means to educate yourself. Future Founders Co. is just one of the ways you can do it, but I'm sure there's just like so many communities just that are even being run by young people that talk about this. So find a modality of learning that suits you and go ahead and learn a lot more and see how you can be a lot more involved in the work around sustainability and climate change.
Yeah. And the first place to start with visiting now, the website is Future Founders. What was it? Let me check it out. Future Founders. .co.
www.founders.co.
Last but not least, I also actually want to shout out Kevin. Yeah, let's shout out Kevin. Kevin Sofan, who is running a wonderful podcast as well, and who has been the connecting puzzle piece here in our connection. He introduced us to each other thanks to the wonderful Unleash program. I think that's where you met him first a couple of years ago.
Kevin and I mentored the same team, and we met. He's such an awesome person. I think we should have started out the episode shouting out the work that he does, because he's incredible. And I reached out to him when I was doing the Future Talks program, and he said, "You know what? Regina is the boss. You should talk to her. She's far more amazing than I am." So I think you should. So yeah, super grateful to Kevin for bringing you into my life.
Yeah, thank you, Kevin. If you're listening now, I'm sure he is one of the listeners who listens all the way to the end. So Kevin, we are fans of yours and we are cheering you on as well, and all the impactful work that you are doing too. So let me plug the podcast of Kevin in the show notes as well, so that people can go and listen to some of these amazing episodes around the Sustainable Development Goals as well. Yes! Thank you so much, Supriya. I have a feeling I will talk to you soon.
Yes, let's do that. Thank you so much for having me on this show. It's been a wonderful conversation. It feels so nice to be back speaking with you.
Yeah. Thank you so much for joining today. If you would like to get your voice heard on #Impact, just send a voice note at #impact.com/story. I will include the link in the show notes as well, so you can easily find it. And if you love what you're hearing here, please tell your friends about it too. I talk to you soon. Bye.